Khia Shimon Finch Chambers, or simply Khia, born November 8, 1976. Today's feature is an artist that had a huge hit song in 2002 that took over the airwaves and made Khia one of the more popular female artists at the time. I'm sure if you were into music at all back then, you remember those famous 10 words she rapped repeatedly, demanding a service in specific places. Couple that with the simple but easy to bop to beat, and Khia had her first standout track. My Neck, My Back peaked at number 42 on the Billboard charts. The song itself went gold in multiple countries and double platinum in total, a song Khia says she didn't even like and wrote in 15 minutes. Nevertheless, it's one of the most known rap singles in urban history. Unfortunately, this would be the only standout track people remember of Khia that typecasted her in a way as an artist to go to for the most raunchy music that wasn't catered to protecting an image of women were supposed to carry themselves a certain way. Like it or not, Khia took freedom into her own hands in a time raunchy wasn't the most popular, as all the girls wanted to be like Beyonce or Janet Jackson or some other upstanding image of, for the most part, covered up and not using only sex to sell. Raunchy was shocking for the time being, but it couldn't promise longevity. Ask rapper Trina, who pretty much dealt with the same industry circumstances as Khia. Their careers almost mirrors each other in one gold album and the public air to start, then after the shock of a female being promiscuous in her music wore off, it became about the quality of the music following, and that's where Khia mostly struggled. Most recently, she's been in the news with less than encouraging things to say about Sexy Red, the 2023 version of Khia or Trina or Lil Kim or whoever female act you'd like to place in there of any era that pushed shock raunch music, because yes, all eras had them, all the way back to the early 1900s with Lucille Bogan, Bessie Smith, Ida Cox, Salt and Pepper, and so forth, so on. Sexy Red is nothing new, but what is the times we live in where a sexy red is much more accepted, and I'll reveal the true reason why in a second. Khia in her prime was experienced at a young age, went through a lot as a youth, having her first child at 15 years old, and had something to say. Much to say actually. To this day, something to say seems to be Khia's wheelhouse. But what about the rest of her music? Why didn't that take off just as smoothly as her female empowering first single? How'd she go down as a one-hit wonder after such a popular song? Let's talk about it. Salute to Wave Santana for this request. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth the Music. Let's get it, man. Take a minute to like, subscribe, and comment on who I should do next. Khia is a rapper, singer, songwriter, producer, television personality, author, and internet personality from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, but moved to Tampa, Florida at 11 years old. She was always into music and creative arts, but life was moving fast for her as she was learning the dark side of the world at a young age. By her sophomore year, she dropped out of high school after she became pregnant with her first child, moving to Hawaii and working as a bartender before she decided on a serious rap career. She booked a studio session, worked on her debut album, and one of the fastest songs she wrote was My Neck, My Back, released in late 2001, but again April 2002 to lead off her October debut album. As mentioned, the song skyrocketed and opened the doors for the new raunch queen, but the spark didn't last long as no following songs from Khia ended up charting. Stunt number 1, follow-up singles. When Khia burst onto the scene with My Neck, My Back, like mentioned, it made her one of the new and few faces of raunch rap music. Typecasted. She was expected to make the same follow-up music, but as she says, her other music was much different from that single, and in her opinion, a lot better. She attempted to prove this to us by releasing the introspective follow-up single You My Girl about her mother that passed away in 2001. In the song, she attempts to reconcile with her mother and sends the message she appreciates all the things her mother was and wasn't and how much she meant to her. Things she may not have gotten to say, but with age and loss of life, she now sees the full picture. But that was absolutely the worst follow-up single choice maybe of all time, and it showed because it completely turned out the lights for Khia. No one remembers that song, and apparently no one wanted to hear it at the time, especially coming from the My Neck My Back rapper. The production on that song was also levels below her hit single and sounded as generic a beat you could imagine the early 2000s to produce. Far as rap skill and ability shown on that song, that was an issue as well, as Khia showed rudimentary skill level technically, although she's always had an infectious voice that carried that song to at least passing the label desk to be put out. Most of all though, it just wasn't the right fit for the career direction fans secretly wanted Khia to go in, and even expected her to go following her double platinum debut single. No other song on the original or re-released version of her album became even somewhat a hit, and to be honest, Khia may have production to blame for that. Outside My Neck My Back, the beats on that album weren't up to par and none of them stood out like her debut. A weak second single halted sales of the album and also promotion. Stunt number 2, not relatable. What I wanted to explain earlier about the difference between Khia and Sexy Red was the advantage of being as relatable as Sexy Red is than Khia was at the time. In the early 2000s, being raunchy and over-sexual wasn't a popular thing to do, as throughout the 90s and 2000s, women weren't as suggestive as they are now. Khia, believe it or not, was an anomaly, a niche market few women delve into, like Trina, Lil Kim, Foxy Brown, maybe enough to make a handful. Nowadays, if a female rapper doesn't have all the curves in the right places, willing to show them off at any given time, or doesn't talk about embracing negative stereotypes of the black woman, she most likely won't become popular in this era. Things completely flipped. Now the idea of Sexy Red is the relatable, and the sexy but respectable like Beyonce is the niche market. The average female youth of today are dominated by negative stereotypes, particularly using sex to get what you want. There's social media now as well, where you can monetize pages and YouTube channels, OnlyFans, and how does one become popular on those platforms as a female? Well, spread your legs, turn to the side, show your curves, and go as far as possible, even if it means sex on camera. This is normality in certain societies today, therefore Sexy Red is popular because young girls and young ladies can relate to the full body tats, piercings all over, colored hair, attracted to scamming, street-oriented males, and at the end of the day, using what you got to get what you want, which is the bag. Old, young, and in between, this is the message we've allowed to be shoved to us because the beat is lit, or this person is co-signing it, or the effect it has on males willing to stream these songs, of course watch the video, in turn supporting raunch rap all the way to the forefront of female hip-hop and the urban influence. Khia wasn't able to take it further than her one hit because females at the time couldn't relate publicly to her music. It wasn't supported as much. Stunt number 3, rap skill. Before I say this, I just want to be clear. It doesn't take great rap skill to make hit records, and definitely doesn't take great rap skill to have a legendary career. I can name a rapper from any era with more personality than skill, and some of them are considered legends in the game. But for what they lacked in skill, they made up in other ways, like again, personality on the mic and on camera, making people draw into their story and support their music. Khia, I must say, found her pocket on the song My Neck My Back. I don't think there's an artist, dead or alive, that could have done better with that beat. Her voice, cadence, and what she was saying on that song was perfect for what it was. But outside that song, I don't think she displayed enough skill to outweigh her not being a likable personality. It's something she struggles with even today, always in the media for all the wrong things said, but not championed by the masses. Her side is usually the less supported. Old Dirty Bastard comes to mind when talking about personality over skill and how he was seemingly the most fun and spontaneous person to be around, and it helped promote his music as we didn't care if he was mumbling some words or it didn't rhyme, we liked him. Whereas Khia doesn't have that ability or advantage. She also had label and promotion issues that played a part in her fall off, but one thing I know about skill, if it's elite, labels will find a way to make money off it. I guess it wasn't all that. All in all, Khia had more than most rappers ever get, a double platinum first single and hit record. She still enjoys making music along with writing, acting, and of course talking about any and everything, enjoying her post-rap career. But as far as that goes, for these reasons, her growth was stunted. Salute, much respect. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth Music, and I'm out.